Is music, for me anyway, which falls outside of the stereotyped kind of music which is only made for a market or only made for money. It's music which comes from the heart, and it's music which is fresh.
The major record companies view it as the next new hairdo or the next new wardrobe, and there's seems to be no long-term commitment to anybody's career.
A lot of the most original music that I know of is coming out in reggae at the moment.
My worry is never that music be so much new as good.
New is really not new anymore. New is now sort of the status quo. The bands that we applied that term to 5-6 years ago, like the Talking Heads or Dire Straits or the Ramones or whoever, they've become establishment groups.
This year's capsule new music definition. Basically music that you're not hearing a lot of on the radio or seeing a lot of on video.
I still think that we're exploring new fields, and if we can define it now, that's not new music, is it?
New music. I think it always comes from the streets, you know, as far as something new and different, and it generally comes from what's called garage bands, fresh bands.
I always wanted to be in a rock and roll band. Our mother played, she had some great records. She had the band, she had Bob Dylan. She would vacuum the house listening to the Rolling Stones and Creedence. So it was always around, you know, and who doesn't want to be in a band, really? She gave me a guitar, and, you know, you take it from there. It only takes about 10 minutes to learn how to play.
Oh, baby, what's gone wrong? You don't laugh on the phone.
Our hero is Tom Petty. We're the biggest Tom Petty fans in the world, and we're not ashamed to admit it ever.
Almost every song you listen to of Tom Petty's is always about relationships and girls, and we can totally dig that.
Have I been gone too long with the love that I got used to?
That feeling that we get listening to Tom Petty is kind of, that's what brought us into playing in a band in the first place. Somebody, you know, somebody like that means so much to you. You know, you want to mean something like that to somebody else. Started out in New Hampshire as a trio. We moved down to Boston after a summer of trying to get gigs, and all we were doing was summer camps, and they were the only people that would take
Our music is not really 60s influenced, but kind of folk-based. Has our own sound. I mean, any kind of music, I think, is new just because it's the same ideas that are being viewed in a different way.
Maybe once in a while I simply have to sit and think to myself, even if it doesn't mean anything to anyone else.
I'd say a good portion of our audience is college, especially now because the first record, D is for Dumptruck, mostly got played on college radio. It got hardly any commercial airplay. So, you know, obviously that's going to form part of our audience. Yeah, I think we just sort of decided we just wanted to play what we want to play and not make any real conscious effort to say, well, we're going to be this style or we're going to try and fit in here or anything. But just, you know, do the songs the way we want to do them.
How come now you say those words once more? While I try to listen, I can't decipher any of the sounds. Oh, they're incoherent.
were to make a living from the band, I think we'd be happy. I think at the point where we can go away, not have to worry about what's going on at home and the money, then we'll, in our minds, have made it.
We just got a new album out, Calling Out, produced by Don Dixon. He's a great guy. It's really fun doing it, and just look for it in the stores.
I think that there's a movement away from synthesizers and to back to, you might say, more ensemble playing.
I think that you're going to see a lot more records made using sampling machines.
I don't believe in prophesying trends.
I think the trend in music is going to be more emotional and less technical, and a little bit more roots-oriented.
I was raised on a farm, lived there for 21 years, as a matter of fact, until I got in with a bunch of wild boys from Nashville, Tennessee. It was a big influence on my music, I think, because it just gave me a sort of sense of that rural feeling, that natural feeling. That's something we're after in our music. You know, we're looking for a certain honesty and a certain American natural energy. You know, that's what we're kind of after. When I first came to town, I said I was looking for some sort of a rock and roll wild band, you know, and they said, oh, you'll never find that here, you know. It takes the average musician 8 years to get anything happening in Nashville.
Every evening when I walk through the door, I get the same old lies that I heard before.
A lot of bands that have come and gone and died in Nashville are saying to themselves, wow, there can be a rock and roll band from town.
Jason and the Scorchers understand the fact that country music and rock and roll really is not all that different. It's pretty much the same sort of thing. It's soul is soul, you know.
Whoever writes a song puts a lot of time into it and a lot of thought into it. Myself, I won't sing a song until every word, I'm happy with every word in the song.
You're telling white lies. You're telling white lies. Well, I can see right through that when the sky's kiss a tail. I can tell when you're telling white lies.
Most importantly, I think, is the melody and the way the arrangement comes off and the feeling that comes off the stage, because we're a feel rock and roll band. We try to not record a song until we played it live for 4 or 5 months, because it seems like our songs develop live. As we play them live every night to audiences, certain things happen, certain melody lines evolve. It's kind of a neat thing that way, because the audiences that come out and see us, our fans, sort of influence the way we write songs.
Jason and the Scorchers tour approximately 8 months a year. We really believe in touring. We're the kind of band, a rock band tours, you know, that's the way you break. We're not a hit single band that's going to have this one real catchy single that goes to the top of the charts and then we're all millionaires. We're the kind of band that goes out there, plays real hard, earns our fans one by one.
I think that there's a fusion of international musical styles that's coming together.
Damas y caballeros, ahora quiero presentar a Rubén Blades y Sextet Solar.
Buenas noches, good evening. My audience is anybody who has a pair of ears and a heart. And, I mean, you just play music. You never really make music just for a certain group. You know, at least I don't. You just show up and you do what you want to do, which is music, and then hope that the people there are touched or have a reaction to what you've just done.
This song is titled Pana Fuerte.
I was born in Panama, and my parents were both musicians, but there was no music in the house. You know, couldn't afford a piano. I was never encouraged to be a musician. What my family wanted me to do is to study and be something else. I was very much into music when I was a kid, because I come from like the radio generation. We used to listen to radio a lot. I was really, really a fan of Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. When I was about 10 years old, I remember I wrote a letter. I tried to write a letter in English to sneak it into them, because they were in Panama at the time. They went to Panama and they were received like kings. You know? So I think since I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a musician. I graduated from law, Faculty of Law, National University in 1974, and then came to New York. Everybody thought I was crazy. I was working in a bank over there. I was an attorney, and everybody said, like, you know, what are you going to do now? I said, well, I'm going to New York to play maracas, you know. And they thought I was really like, oh, okay, you know, this guy's really nuts. New York was the place where everybody wanted to come to. The best musicians, the best arrangers, the best composers were all here. In terms of the salsa field, Afro-Cuban music, it's music that for a long time was used more to dance than to express life as life is in a Latin American country. You know, what I decided to do with it was that instead of just using the music to escape, I began to think that, you know, we could use the music to confront issues, and at the same time to create some sort of documented folklore through music, you know, the folklore of the city, the urban song, the urban sounds, the urban spirit.
A metal shack is crossing through the night. A beat-up black sedan against the neon light. Babo from Park Street is driving with his crew. The barrio boys, the macho crowd, the uptown cool.
In 1983, I started my own group, Seis del Solar, and Buscando America was the first album we worked together. One reason I think that critics and the public at large paid more attention to Buscando America perhaps was the fact that for the first time there were translations. You know, maybe they read and said, oh, they're not singing about Chiquita Banana. You know, it was interesting stuff. It was a very pleasant surprise, I'd say, very much so. And I mean, and when you read Time magazine saying in July that this is the best album of the year and this is a Latin album, you go like, wow.
Tell me about your new album.
The album is titled Escenas in Spanish. That means scenes. And the difference between this album and Buscando America is that Buscando America dealt with people's lives being affected by politics in Latin America. Whereas in Escenas, the album deals with people's interrelationships, interactions.
Siempre en la noche mi mamá buscaba el sueño frente a la televisión y me pedía que por favor no la apagara. Soledad en aquel cuarto no aguantaba, aunque jamás lo confesó. Están tomándose un café, sentados sin saber por qué.
Silencios means silences. What the song is about is like to live in silence. It's just another way of dying.
Donde mirar y así prolongan el final.
Linda got involved in the song because about 3 years ago, when I first met her, she said she expressed interest, you know, in Latin music and having, you know, Latins in her background, Latin blood as well.
I used to love to sing in Spanish so much, and when I go back to sing with my family, we still sing that way, and it gets my voice up on a little place that I like. Rock and roll gets your voice kind of in a hard, kind of a tense place, and singing in Spanish has the most kisses. That's why I like to do it. But I don't know how to do it yet, but I'm learning. I have this teacher. So when he asked me if I would sing a harmony on his record, I was completely delighted.
The song Muévete in the album means move on, or get a move. It's a song against racism. We had to deal with racism not only in South Africa, we had to deal with it here in this country, and we had to deal with it all throughout Latin America.
Cuando la defiende la razón, reunámonos todos para acabar con la maldad. Muévete con todo el corazón, aquí y allá.
Jelly Bean Benitez is the one who's going to do the dance mix for it. I have English lyrics for it as well, and I'm going to be doing an album in English as well.
Is it a goal of yours to reach an Anglo audience?
My position is I want to establish communication. Not only because of the you know, being an artist, that's what one of the things you'd really like to have, you know, that, but also because in terms of what is happening today in the world, and worldwide.
I find that through music, when you address issues that are general, and they're human issues, everybody's the same, doesn't matter. What it does is it reminds people of a language, the language of the heart. All of a sudden you have created a link between them. Or not created, made them rediscover the link. And that's the importance that I give to this music.